All right, so what I have here is a Meepo electronic longboard and a normal longboard. And what it is, I took all the electronics off of the Meepo board and I put it onto my standard board, making this electronic, which you pay a lot more money for these type of boards compared to this. This is a mini extended range. And obviously this is one of those videos where I already did it, but I'll show you basically. This is for the trucks. This is for the battery pack. And then this is for the enclosure. Long story short, took off the trucks, top and bottom. What I found out is that this runs through the board up to here. It goes through the board, making it impossible to get out. So what you could either do is snip these and then wire nut them to the other board, or what I did is I just left these on, and instead I did it like this. Everything moved over really easily. Like I said, this is the mini, and then this is what I did. I put the trucks on here, and I used the same little spacer here. I used everything the same. All the bolts and nuts were the same. Right here is center of the board as I possibly could. And so all of it basically was an easy fit. All I had to do on this board was put this closer to this, so then I didn't have to wire it at all. I literally just dug a hole in this. Let's see if I can make it. There you go. I made a little hole in here so that this extension that goes to this came out. And then in this one, I cut a little hole right there so that I didn't have to put the extension into there. So this is the battery pack because it has the battery percentage enclosure. So this is the electronic speed control. To make this waterproof, there's that. Then you could fill this up with some sort of caulk or put them really close. And then since this is a very thick board and very long, there's a lot more comfortability. But this was an old board that I had. One thing you got to look out for is the flex, so that it doesn't flex if they're really flimsy and then grind on this. You don't want to do that. And then basically just where the holes were, all I did was use the outer hole that was here because it had both of them. It had the inner hole and then the outer hole. I just used the outer ones. And then these I had to drill 1, 2, 3, 4 for the enclosure, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the battery pack. And basically you just get a Allen key on a drill it in till it's flush, and have a socket with a wrench on the other side holding it. That's how it's done. This thing works beautifully. I was going to consider, since this was so far apart, the enclosure and the battery pack, I was thinking if there was going to be a weight distribution issue, I would check it out, as if, since it's on the rear over here, I thought that was going to be an issue, but it's not at all. But if it was, then technically, instead of building the wires through the board, you could basically buy the same kind of wires by looking at what this is. 600 volt, I think 14 gauge. 14 all-wheel gauge right there, yep. And then basically you could run it outside of the board from this connector. Like I said, cut off this, cut off that, wire nut it or solder it to this side with the wire going across, so that this is a little bit more forward, so that you'd have the weight distribution. But I didn't need to do that because this thing is rock solid, very heavy, and just beautiful. But that's how they make these boards, and that's how I make mine.